Just 1 week after the deadly strikes in Venezuela, tonight the State Department renewing calls for Americans to leave that country. And it comes as President Trump is now threatening to take military action against drug cartels.
We've knocked out 97% of the drugs coming in by water, and we are going to start now hitting land with regard to the cartels. The cartels are running Mexico. It's very, very sad to watch and see what's happened to that country. But
2:34 a.m. South Minneapolis, as residents slept, unmarked government SUVs extinguished their headlights and positioned themselves surrounding a 17-story residential tower adjacent to Highway 35. Within moments, all exits were secured. Elevator systems were disabled mid-floor. Stairwell access was controlled by tactical teams advancing in low formation. Entry points were compromised without advance notification. High-intensity beams penetrated darkened corridors as federal operatives issued verbal commands. Building occupants were ordered prone palms, exposed compartments systematically processed. The tactical advance proceeded vertically, ensuring complete coverage. Within 58 minutes, ICE, DHS, and ATF personnel apprehended 297 undocumented individuals, approximately 205 identified as Somali citizens. Personal belongings were thoroughly inspected. Fraudulent documentation unraveled. Operatives confiscated 156 counterfeit passports, numerous disposable cellular devices, and currency bundles concealed within architectural voids. The mission parameters then expanded dramatically. Specialized search units discovered 53 weapons featuring loaded sidearms and military-grade rifles. Throughout mechanical spaces and secured baggage, they obtained heroin and fentanyl prepared for commercial-scale movement, clearly not individual consumption. Recovered cash exceeded $5.8 million. The immigration enforcement action transformed rapidly. The arsenal, narcotics, and liquid assets confirmed the structure functioned as a fortified trafficking center, not residential housing. At that moment, federal personnel understood the municipality confronted a significant organized crime challenge, not a simple immigration matter. Those who recognized this tower operation revealed far more than documentation violations should engage now and leave exposed. If you understand, this represented merely the initial phase. As morning approached, the residential raid generated immediate intelligence. Mobile devices, confiscated from individual units, continued receiving communications. Unanswered connections, coded transmissions, coordination schedules interrupted mid-execution. ATF intelligence specialists continued operations overnight, establishing relationships between contact information, geographic points, and identities extracted from disposable phones and falsified identification records. What initially seemed like disconnected criminal behavior began forming a unified organizational pattern. Two identities emerged that contradicted typical street-level criminality. Abdirahman Hassan, 48, a Somali-born city council representative maintaining an impeccable public profile. Fadumo Ahmed, 39, a certified public accountant overseeing multiple nonprofit entities throughout Minneapolis. Their official presentations suggested civic dedication. Federal analysis indicated they orchestrated the enterprise. Evidence obtained from the residential complex and associated warehousing revealed the duo had invested approximately 12 years constructing a clandestine immigration corridor. Somali nationals were illegally transported into American territory, furnished with fabricated credentials, and integrated into operational roles, including transportation security and courier services. Compliance was maintained through financial obligation, physical intimidation, and threats against overseas relatives. Their professional standings provided insulation. Accounting manipulations postponed external scrutiny. Community relationships obstructed law enforcement inquiries. Financial incentives circulated discreetly. Customs personnel, municipal police, even ranking enforcement officials were believed compromised. Contraband originated from Mexican and Colombian sources, then dispersed from Minneapolis throughout regional corridors. Federal investigators connected the organization to no fewer than 31 homicides with gang associations throughout Minneapolis and surrounding communities. These violent episodes had previously been classified as unrelated criminal events prior to organizational exposure. Subsequent investigation verified the corruption extended past law enforcement boundaries. Legal documentation established connections to a Somali-born assistant city administrator who purportedly furnished political insulation, hindered enforcement initiatives, and obtained financial compensation. His eventual admission would validate that organizational protection reached senior municipal governance. As intelligence solidified, observation teams detected significant activity. 9:03 a.m., Minneapolis-St. Paul International Airport. Abdirahman and Fadumo arrived through separate entrances, traveling with minimal possessions. Recently obtained travel documents, single-direction international reservations, no media interaction, no legal representation visible. Federal surveillance interpreted this unambiguously. Flight was underway. ICE and FBI personnel systematically isolated terminal sections monitoring both subjects through surveillance infrastructure and biometric identification systems. At 9:08 a.m., preceding departure procedures, agents coordinated convergence. Physical detention required 19 seconds. Zero physical resistance, zero verbal exchange, simply restraints secured within the central concourse. Following their capture, organizational protection evaporated. Prosecutors authorized additional investigative instruments within hours. Financial documentation became accessible. Identities protected for extended periods surfaced simultaneously. The immigration enforcement operation had completely evolved into a nationwide narcotics investigation. Minneapolis constituted only the operational center. Respond, confirmed, if you understand this organization persisted through internal systemic protection. Engage if you demand complete transparency regarding all implicated parties. 3:18 a.m. 7 jurisdictions synchronized execution, precisely simultaneously federal authorization, activated throughout Minnesota, Wisconsin, Illinois, Iowa, Missouri, Michigan, and Indiana. Over 1,450 federal operatives deployed into designated positions. FBI command facilities maintained continuous digital feeds as ICE ATF and DHS units functioned as integrated forces. Traffic corridors were isolated, utility infrastructures were monitored. The coordinated action proceeded with tactical discipline. Initial forced entry occurred in western Minnesota. A reinforced barrier was explosively compromised. Armed sentries attempted dispersal, but concussion devices detonated, eliminating resistance instantaneously. Armed confrontation ensued, concentrated aggressive engagements throughout confined passages. 3 individuals were struck by gunfire during arrest resistance. 1 federal operative sustained a leg wound and was evacuated under protective coverage as units continued advancement. 3:42 a.m., Milwaukee Peripheral Zone. A repurposed industrial facility became a combat environment. 1 suspect initiated fire from raised positioning. Federal response neutralized the aggressor. Interior contained pharmaceutical contraband stacked to shoulder height. Heroin blocks marked and vacuum-sealed fentanyl, commercially packaged by weight, prepared for immediate distribution. 3:59 a.m. South Chicago. Coordinated penetrations targeted a residential structure across 5 levels. Individuals attempted escape through vertical passages and roof access. 1 discharged weapons through interior partitions. Another tried disposing of firearms over exterior railings. Federal teams contained subjects, controlled the facility, and initiated thorough examination. Long guns, pistols, and currency were recovered from structural cavities, ventilation systems, and concealed floor storage. Dawn revealed undeniable magnitude. Throughout 89 targeted sites, federal teams encountered defensive fortifications, electronic warning systems, and weapons positioned for rapid deployment. 7 distinct armed engagements developed within the initial 52 hours. 13 cartel enforcement personnel were fatally wounded during arrest resistance. 4 federal agents sustained injuries, all survived. Detentions accumulated exponentially. Initial 24-hour period yielded 503 suspects in custody, featuring over 325 confirmed cartel operational personnel. Additional subjects were processed for weapons possession, distribution activities, and conspiracy violations. Secondary 24-hour period elevated total detentions beyond 765 individuals, numerous directly involved in interstate pharmaceutical transportation, armed enforcement operations, and financial laundering networks. Confiscations matched the operational intensity. Transport vehicles departed containing metric tons of heroin, fentanyl, and methamphetamine. Secured containers were forcibly accessed, revealing substantial cash reserves. Weapons caches materialized. Hundreds of firearms ammunition magazines physically joined. Ordnance organized in commercial quantities. Digital analysis teams replicated server data on location, capturing transaction documentation during active processing. Proximity amplified operational danger. Multiple objectives existed within minutes of educational facilities and civilian residential zones. Contraband was positioned adjacent to children's sleeping areas. Weapons were integrated behind architectural concealment in family residences. Each forced entry presented ambush probability or civilian casualty risk. Secondary operational day brought federal command confirmation. This wasn't localized criminal activity. This represented a fortified multi-state cartel infrastructure prepared for violent resistance and integrated throughout America's central region. This wasn't an enforcement sweep. This was armed conflict. Leave accountability if you support this operation's necessity and engage this content if cartel aggression should face absolute intolerance on American territory. Following the 7-jurisdiction operation's conclusion, investigators initiated comprehensive reconstruction of the organization's historical activities prior to detection. The operational chronology proved more extensive and more disturbing than anticipated. Financial documentation, encrypted accounting records, and cooperating witness statements confirmed the enterprise had functioned nearly 13 years. Initial small-volume smuggling operations matured into industrial-scale trafficking infrastructure. During internal operational briefings, one calculation circulated quietly: tens of thousands of lives directly or indirectly impacted by pharmaceutical products distributed through this single organization. For years, the network functioned openly concealed behind professional credentials, community standing, and institutional oversight failures. Council representatives authorized documentation. Accountants submitted reports. Police units diverted attention elsewhere. Meanwhile, complete neighborhoods absorbed the costs. Once the complete scope became undeniable, no discussion remained. This transcended criminal enterprise classification. This represented a sustained assault on community safety, and consequences were just beginning.